All right, now we're going to move on to fixing the checkbox because we've noticed that when I go ahead and click on this, nothing happens. Behind the scenes, I can actually see that it was false, and then it's true, and then every time I click it, it's incrementing the true, so it's just becoming true, and that's it. So what we need to do, we need to figure out exactly what's going on here. Let's go ahead and map out um, sort of like the path of data, because I find that this can be helpful in debugging. If we forget to do this, it could take a while before we realize what exactly is happening here. So we're going to start with our edit task page. So to begin with, the page loads and we render the BB checkbox. Okay, great. We're also setting it to be checked based upon the task completed at, and then whether or not that is set to something or a nothing. If it's set to something, that's going to be true, and therefore it is completed. Otherwise, it's a none and it's not completed at all. Okay, great. Then we go into the checkbox. Where's my, there you are. And in the checkbox, we then have our checked equals to be just whatever props checked or passed in. Okay, fine again. When it's changed, so when the state is changed and we click when we click this button, then uh, we have we emit out what the new value is. So if it was false and unchecked, it would be true now, right? Okay, so that emits out back to edit task. So on the on change, that comes to completed change. So that is right here. When we detect the completed as changed now, we then set internal state. Hey, we've now changed it. We now have a sum completed, which updates the state. Well, the state's been updated. Re-render. Okay, so all the components re-render again. Or at the very least, BB checkbox re-renders. Okay. And so we reset all this stuff. Checked is now set to the original task because we haven't updated that at all. The original task is still going to be a none. So we now get this infinite loop essentially where it's just unchecked no matter what we do because we're just constantly telling it to be nothing at all. What we need to do is have some way to determine if we've set the internal state. And if we have, then use that. Otherwise, use this one. So let's go ahead and write a function for this. So we're going to have a function. This doesn't need to be public because it's going to be internal only. We're just going to like how about is completed? Let's see, is completed. We need to take in a couple of things here. First, we need to take in the original task completed. So task completed at, this is going to be an option with a string inside. Okay. And then we also need to take in the actual store. So we know that the contents of completed state is an option with a Boolean inside. Okay. So this is going to be a state completed, which is an option with a Boolean. And we are going to return a Boolean from this function. Okay. So what are we going to do here? So we first want to start here with state completed because this could be true or false. And we want the checkbox to be appropriate based upon that one. So we're going to do an if let. So if let sum checked equals, let's actually do completed. That's a little bit more context correct. If let sum completed equals state completed. Now I want to just return completed. Okay. Now, if this is a none, then we want to return task completed at is sum. So the is sum actually is important for us, but only if we haven't tried to check or uncheck the button yet. So now let's use this is completed button here in checked. So we'll do is completed. We need to pass in, okay, the task completed at. So we already have a task completed. I think it was completed at, and let's just we'll clone that. Let's see, I might be able to reference that. Let's try it. If we just have this be a option, a reference to option string. Oh, you know what we can do? We can do it like an as ref. So like as ref, which turns that I don't, let's see, do I want to do a converts from a reference option to that? I don't want to like do the ref. Okay. That might work. Let's see. And then the other one is just going to be Boolean. So we want to just do a dereferenced completed state. And that should be fine for that one. Okay, then you are upset because you are, okay, found, okay, a reference to the stir. That's great. So I want you to be a reference to the stir there, because all I care about is the is some or is none here, essentially. Okay, so let's head back to our code, or sorry, our browser. We have our completed, and now it's working exactly as expected. So to review, what was happening was we were always sending what the task that we're getting from the database is, its completed status as the status of this checkbox, which meant that every time that we checked it, it would just go to the opposite state, but never actually visually updated because we're constantly resetting it. This is something that we have to be aware of when we're working with front-end frameworks like this, because it is automatically re-rendering the page every time that internal state changes or the Yew.rs store changes or many other or properties change. And whatever we set it to might be reset for us and we may not notice it right away. Anyways, I'm super happy we got this fixed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.